Alright, let's talk about getting things done. I mean, really getting things done. We live in a world surrounded by giants. Towering skyscrapers that kiss the clouds. Massive bridges that span entire rivers. Endless highways that connect us from coast to coast. These incredible feats of engineering don't just magically appear. They are built, piece by hard-working men and women. And these folks rely on some seriously powerful tools to shape our world. We often see the big machines. The massive excavators, the towering cranes, the powerful bulldozers. They get all the glory, and for good reason. They are the titans of the job site, the muscle that moves mountains. But what about the parts that do the actual work? Think about it for a second. An excavator is an incredible piece of machinery, a marvel of hydraulic power and engineering. But without the right attachment at the end of its arm, it's just a giant, very expensive paperweight. The real action, the digging, the grabbing, the crushing, that all happens at the point of contact. This is where the unseen heroes of the construction world come into play. I'm talking about the attachments. Heavy-duty buckets, powerful grapples, specialized demolition tools. These are the business end of the machine. The parts that take a beating day in and day out, so the rest of the machine doesn't have to. These aren't just simple pieces of steel. They are meticulously designed and engineered tools, built to withstand incredible forces. They have to be tough enough to claw through solid rock, precise enough to sort delicate materials, durable enough to last for thousands of hours in the harshest environments imaginable. This is a world where failure is not an option. A broken bucket or a malfunctioning grapple can bring an entire multi-million-dollar project to a grinding halt. Lost time, lost money, a lot of frustrated people. So, the quality of these attachments is not just important, it's absolutely critical to the success of any major construction job. That brings us to a brand that lives and breathes this philosophy. A company that focuses all its energy on making these unsung heroes as tough and reliable as they can possibly be. I'm talking about Hivi. You might not have heard the name unless you're in the business of moving earth or tearing things down, but on job sites all over the world, their products are making a huge difference. They specialize in one thing, building heavy-duty attachments that make good machines great. They understand that the real work happens at the tip of the spear, and they've dedicated themselves to forging the strongest, most dependable tips you can find anywhere. You've probably heard the old saying, use the right tool for the right job. It's a simple piece of advice, especially in heavy construction. Using the wrong tool can be inefficient, costly, and dangerous. Imagine digging a narrow utility trench with a massive, wide bucket. You'd move way more dirt than needed, waste time and fuel, then spend extra on backfilling. Not smart work. This is where Heavy comes in, not one size fits all. An arsenal of specialized attachments, heavy-duty buckets, demolition grapples, customizable solutions. Specialization lets contractors pick the perfect attachment to maximize efficiency and save resources. Durability matters. Constant abrasion from sand and rock, massive demolition impacts, extreme temperatures, standard attachments won't last. Heavy's reputation comes from materials and design, high-strength steel, reinforced stress areas, built to last for years, less downtime = less profit loss. Look at the attachment on an excavator's arm, more than a scoop or claw. A precision tool. The brand like Heavy affects project success, quality, durability, customization. Next, a deep dive and a machine in action. Alright, let's get our hands dirty. Metaphorically, of course. We're going to take a closer look at one of the most common yet most critical pieces of equipment on any job site, the heavy-duty excavator bucket. To the untrained eye, it might just look like a big curved piece of metal, a simple scoop. But when you look closer, you realize it's a masterpiece of engineering, designed for one purpose: to conquer the earth. The heavy-duty bucket is a perfect example of this. It's not just built, it's forged to survive immense daily forces. The design starts with its shape. A carefully calculated curve. That curve lets it slice into the ground with minimal resistance, like a sharp spade. This curvature is crucial. It's about physics, not aesthetics. The shape makes material flow into the bucket. Soil, clay, gravel. That flow reduces the power the excavator needs, saving fuel. It also reduces wear and tear on the machine's engine, and on its hydraulic systems. Every element, from the angle of the cutting edge to the depth of the bucket, is optimized for performance. It's proof that simple tools hide complex engineering. Then you have the materials. You can't fight rock and dirt with any old steel. Heavy uses high-tensile, abrasion-resistant steel alloys. This isn't hardware store metal, it's formulated for extreme impact and grinding wear. Think of it as armor for the excavator. These buckets work in quarries and in demolition sites, constantly scraping against jagged rock and broken concrete. Without specialized steel, a regular bucket would be worn down to a nub in weeks, not years. Finally, let's talk about the teeth. The teeth are the true point of attack, the first part to hit the ground, concentrating massive power into small points. Heavy makes the teeth incredibly strong and also replaceable. The teeth take the most abuse and wear out fastest. Because they're easy to swap, a contractor can replace a worn or broken tooth right on the job site, minimizing downtime and keeping the project moving. Theory and design are one thing, but the real test of any piece of heavy equipment is out there in the mud, the rock, and the rubble of a real job site. This is where the steel meets the stone and where a brand like Heavy proves its worth. Let's journey to a place where the earth itself is the primary obstacle, a sprawling rock quarry. Here, massive excavators work relentlessly, day in and day out, carving valuable aggregate out of the hillside. The material is abrasive, heavy, and unforgiving. A standard-issue bucket would be ground down in a few months, its metal worn thin by the constant scraping against granite limestone. This is the perfect environment for a heavy-duty bucket. On a site like this, a construction manager explained that their operation runs on a tight schedule. Any downtime is not just an inconvenience, it's a direct hit to their production targets and revenue. Before switching to heavy attachments, they were constantly pulling machines out of service to weld patches onto their buckets or to replace worn-out teeth. It was a never-ending cycle of costly maintenance that slowed everything down. After equipping their fleet with heavy buckets, specifically designed for quarry work with extra-thick wear plates hardened steel, the difference was night and day. The buckets simply lasted longer, absorbing the punishment that would have crippled their old equipment. Now, let's shift scenes from the wide-open spaces of the quarry to the confined chaos of an urban demolition project. Here, an excavator isn't just digging, it's a precision instrument of destruction, tearing down an old concrete structure to make way for a new one. The tool of choice is a heavy demolition grapple, a powerful attachment that acts like a giant, unstoppable hand. The operator has to carefully dismantle the building, separating valuable steel rebar from the concrete rubble. This requires a tool that is both immensely powerful and surprisingly nimble, capable of crushing thick concrete walls and then delicately plucking out the metal skeleton within. A demolition contractor on a downtown project shared a story about the challenges they face. Urban demolition is a delicate dance. You need to bring down the old building without damaging adjacent structures or creating unnecessary hazards. He praised the heavy grapple for its hydraulic control and robust design. He could apply just the right amount of crushing force to pulverize concrete while leaving the rebar intact for recycling. The grapple's reinforced tines, hardened cutting edges, allowed his team to slice through steel beams and sort materials efficiently, turning what could have been a messy pile of debris into neatly separated piles of recyclable resources, which is both environmentally beneficial, economically beneficial. At the end of the day, the people who know this equipment best are the ones who sit in the operator's seat for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. They feel every jolt, hear every strain, and know exactly how a tool is performing. Their feedback is the most honest and valuable testament to a product's quality. I spoke with a veteran operator named Dave, who has spent over 20 years running excavators on all kinds of jobs, digging foundations for subdivisions, major highway infrastructure projects. He's used just about every brand of bucket and attachment you can imagine, and he doesn't mince words when it comes to his tools. Dave told me that the first thing he noticed about the heavy bucket on his new machine was how balanced it felt. It might sound strange to talk about balance for a multi-ton piece of steel, but he explained that a well-designed bucket feels like a natural extension of the excavator's arm. It doesn't feel clumsy or overly heavy, which allows for smoother and more precise movements. With some buckets, you feel like you're fighting the machine all day. With this one, it just goes where you want it to go. It makes my job less of a wrestling match and more about finesse, even when I'm moving tons of dirt. Another operator, working on a site clearing land for a new commercial development, talked about the bucket's teeth. The ground was littered with old tree stumps, buried rocks, a nightmare for any digging operation. With previous buckets, he would frequently shear off a tooth or have them come loose, forcing a halt to his work while he fumbled with a hammer and pins to replace it. The Heavy bucket, with its robust tooth-locking system, held firm. He said he could apply full breakout force to pry stubborn stumps out of the ground with confidence, knowing the teeth weren't going to pop off and get lost in the dirt. This confidence in the equipment is a recurring theme among the operators I talk to. They explained that when you trust your tools, you can work more efficiently and more safely. You're not constantly worried that a weld might fail, or that a piece might break off under a heavy load. This peace of mind allows them to focus completely on the task at hand. It reduces stress and fatigue over a long shift. A good tool makes for a good day. A bad tool makes you want to go home. With Heavy, I'm having a lot more good days. That simple statement speaks volumes about the brand's impact on the people doing the real work. In the construction business, time is money. Every minute saved, every extra truckload moved per hour translates directly to the bottom line. This is where the theoretical advantages of a well-designed heavy attachment become tangible, measurable results. A site supervisor for a large earth-moving company decided to track this impact directly. His team was tasked with excavating a massive basin for a water retention pond, a project that involved moving hundreds of thousands of cubic yards of soil. They ran a side-by-side comparison, one excavator equipped with a standard bucket and another with a heavy bucket of the same size. The results of this informal study were, honestly, pretty compelling. The operator using the heavy bucket consistently achieved faster cycle times. Now, a cycle time is the total time it takes to dig a load, swing the excavator, dump the material into a truck and swing back to dig again. The heavy bucket's superior fill factor meant the operator got a full load on the first try, nearly every single time. Its clean dumping design meant less time was spent shaking sticky soil out of the bucket. These small time savings, just a few seconds per cycle, began to add up significantly over the course of a full shift. By the end of the day, the excavator with the Heavy attachment had loaded several more trucks than its counterpart. When the supervisor crunched the numbers, this translated into a productivity increase of nearly 10%. In the world of bulk earth moving, a 10% increase is a massive gain. It means projects get completed faster, which reduces labor costs, fuel consumption, and machine hours. It also means the company can take on more work over the course of a year, directly boosting its revenue and profitability. The investment in a premium attachment paid for itself far quicker than they had anticipated. And you know, this story isn't unique. The theme is the same. Heavy equipment helps get more work done in less time. It's a clear demonstration that choosing the right tool isn't an expense, it's an investment in efficiency. The productivity gains are not just marginal, they are substantial, measurable, and have a profound impact on the success and profitability of a construction project. Looking ahead, the construction industry is on the cusp of significant transformation. The rise of autonomous machinery, remote-controlled machinery presents both a challenge and a massive opportunity for an attachment specialist like Heavy. As the operator moves from the cab to a control room, the feel of the machine is lost. Attachments of the future will need to be smarter, incorporating sensors. Sensors that give feedback on force, weight, material type that a remote operator can use. Heavy's vision, intelligent attachments that communicate this crucial data. Attachments becoming the tactile fingertips for robotic excavators. Another key trend, sustainability. More recycling of construction and demolition waste requires on-site material separation. Heavy developing advanced sorting grapples. Heavy developing crushing buckets that separate concrete from rebar on site. Heavy developing other specialized tools to turn debris into recycled materials. This aligns with a move toward a circular economy and positions Heavy as a greener construction enabler. The final verdict is clear. This is not just steel, it's a strategic advantage, and that is a job worth doing right.